ticking.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Simon Says Bet. Your weekly podcast about sports and maybe a little bit of gambling, whatever, every now and then. We'll discuss odds. Today we're going to go ahead and break down NBA free agency because a move happened last week, literally after we were, try to record last week. James Harden is now reunited with Russell Westbrook in Houston, and CP3 has been shipped off, as I said, set adrift to Oklahoma City. But actually, the more I thought about it, the more I think, you know what, Oklahoma City might not be that bad. But you guys kind of disagree with me. But
yes,
yeah. Well, you know what? Fuck off. We're going to be on the record here. We'll see what happens now, won't we? So what do you guys think? Do you think this is what a Daryl Morey trying to his last swing at?
It's definitely not his last swing, and I don't know that his next swing is this year, but he's made the attempt, and he understands that the league is run by superstars, and he has tried to pair superstars all the time he's there. Dwight Howard didn't work out. Chris Paul worked out. He just happened to get a pulled hamstring in the single most important game of the entire series and season for them.
He's old.
But the thing is, if he doesn't get that pulled hamstring, they probably win Game 6. And again, if they don't miss 27 straight 3-pointers, they probably win Game 7.
Yeah.
So,
that's the thing.
He traded for Harden. He traded for Howard. He traded for Chris Paul. He's traded for Westbrook. He's always made the attempt to try and add somebody to there, and oftentimes he's except for the Westbrook and Chris Paul swapping for each other, he's traded not as much for something bigger just because of the nature of the contracts.
No, he's actually tend to win those trades so pretty well. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think given the way that team's constructed, the way Daryl Morey's, the way they play, they were always basically trying to out-warrior the Warriors. They actually kind of did it at one point.
That first season, they did.
Yeah. They were built at present point to beat the best team in the NBA and their best lineup, and they almost did it. And I think bringing in Westbrook, granted, he's not quite the pull-up shooter or three-point shooter that
or set shooter or catch and shoot
shooter in general.
Or off-ball shooter.
Off-ball shooter as CP3. I genuinely think they might actually be the best team in the West now. As they presently are constructed,
they will have the best run second team offense.
Absolutely,
but the problem is not the 20. The problem is not the 24 minutes of the game that they don't play together. It's the 20 plus minutes of the game that they do play together.
Mm-hmm. I think, but they're friends, and from what I understand and from what I think these guys actually like each other, and that can actually mean chemistry.
LeBron's friends with Carmelo Anthony. You don't see him knocking on the door to get him to come play with the Lakers.
I just want to know, when they're both on the court at the same time and one of them has the ball, how are you scoring 4-on-5? Because the other guy's useless.
They don't run off screens. They don't set screens.
Well,
what was it? Westbrook set 4 last season.
And again, I said those 4 screens are like he was running toward the ball and defender happened to get in his way.
He just happened to get in his way is what I was thinking.
And it became a back pick.
Listen, I have faith in D'Antoni to figure it out. I mean, like I said, that lineup of Westbrook, Harden, Gordon, Tucker, and Capella, that's a really good lineup.
It's an impressive lineup.
And they could run small ball and run you off the fucking court.
But that's one of the things is like when basketball
ball with inefficient shooting leads to getting killed.
Yeah, basketball, the only inefficient shooter they have is Westbrook.
Basketball fans, because of the nature of the game, only 5 people be on the court, are very much attached to the fantasy basketball system. Oh, get the best point guard and the best this and the best that, and like together they'll be better than everybody else. Not if their skills don't mesh with each other.
And also, Harden drives all the time and gets to the rim, and that's what Westbrook doesn't have to be a shooter. He could actually just do Westbrook things with Harden there, and Harden's actually a great shooter. So it could potentially work.
But he doesn't. He stands at half court when he doesn't have the ball. He did it all season.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I trust.
Can't catch and shoot from half court. Maybe Steph Curry could.
I trust D'Antoni, so we'll see what happens. But I genuinely think they're going to be good. I think Oklahoma City is going to be good.
They have to change the way they play for it to work.
Well, they will, and I think D'Antoni is smart enough to try and. He figured it out with Chris Paul. He basically was running lineup A, lineup B initially with Chris Paul and Harden.
They are still on the court for 20 minutes a time together, though, and Chris Paul can operate off the ball and is a better secondary passer than what we have seen exhibited by Westbrook or Harden.
He shot 43% on open jump shots last season.
I think it's going to be a pretty big deal because we're going to see. But we also have to see that he played really well actually with George. He conceded to George a good bit this last season at the end. So maybe
all the way to 7th or 6th seed. Yeah, it worked.
Well, they were at one point.
Well, George, they were third.
They were third in the West up until George hit
both
a wall.
shoulders. Both shoulders got injured.
Yeah, so I mean, that wasn't on Westbrook. Really.
And again, 2 years ago they were also third until Roberson went down, and that was their defensive.
Yes, I mean
shooting guard.
Trashed Westbrook all season.
I know this is
now he's a rocket. And you like him.
And in a much worse offensive situation.
All his shooting numbers went down.
He's
60s from the foul line. 60s. He's an 80% guy. He dropped to the 60s.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I like I said, at the end of the season, he started to play a more less selfish game, if you want to say. And then I think a change of scenery and get reunited with probably one of the guys that actually likes him in the league could actually help him, and he'll actually concede, and he'll buy into the system.
Well, for the most part, his teammates, except apparently Durant, and have very much enjoyed Westbrook. I mean, Enes Kanter still stands for Westbrook, and he's like 2 teams later.
Yeah, for a lot of people, actually, his teammates generally tend to love him. So we'll see what happens. I think Chris Paul actually.
Oklahoma City's not in the playoffs.
I think they could be.
What is could be? Could be is nothing.
Well, I mean, they have a
could
shot.
be is 50% chance of rain. That's every single day.
For me, I think it's the Spurs that are out.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
They get both their point guards back this season.
Yeah, we'll see.
And they'll be healthy.
But Aldridge and DeRozan, 2-point shooting, the way the league's currently constructed, and the West is going to be tough as shit.
Well, the Spurs almost had Marcus Morris, who backed out of a contract to go to the Knicks.
And he also fired.
Who apparently was told by his agent to not take a 1 year, $21 million, no, a 2 year, $40 million deal from the Clippers.
Was it 2 years?
2 years, like 40-something million.
Great contract.
The big rumor is that Clutch Sports and Rich Paul basically were trying to protect LeBron.
Well, no, the truth is he was Morris was advised not to take that contract. The reasons could be anything. Obviously, the agent is saying, "Oh, we can get a better deal from someone else," which obviously he didn't. Especially at how many big guys we saw signing for $5 million a year, like almost all of them. Mm-hmm. And then these better options don't even come around, so he fires him because Rich Paul is working for Clutch Sports, started by LeBron James, and it's like, let's not have one of the better defenders on LeBron James. On the Clippers.
The LeBron stopper.
Well, as he calls himself. It doesn't matter. It's like,
Lord.
It doesn't matter, though.
He's still putting up 38, but still the LeBron stopper, air quotes.
Remember Game 7 of that series with 35, 10, and 10?
But the thing is, if you're going to get 10 guys, it's like, who could do something? It's like he'd be in the conversation. But more importantly, it's like when you can rotate George,
Kawhi, and Morris on him
to where neither one of them gets so burnt out playing defense on him, then now that becomes an issue because you can actually throw waves of defenders at him that makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah,
then it's like, nope, we don't want you in the same building against my guy. So it's like, no, that's a bad contract. You don't want to sign that.
But no, I mean, as it currently stands,
and he was the second guy to fire Clutch Sports as well.
The first one?
It was the same day, but Morris was the one that was a bigger deal because we found out about the issue with the Clippers. But there was another guy, and it's like, that seems kind of weird. But then you realize, oh no, it's like they had no direct situation in helping LeBron. Well, J.R. Smith gets released by Cleveland. Lakers say they have no intention of signing him, and Korver's yet to get his buyout from the Suns, and Iguodala apparently is being shopped for. He wants to be traded, but Memphis is asking for a first-round pick, or else no, we're going to play you here.
He's 36. No one's going to give you a first.
Then we'll just play you here, and you can be a good locker room guy, showing our young guys what they need to do to win.
Or
but I mean, as a current,
he could just show up and not do that.
Yeah, but I mean, again, then you're like, okay. Then was it Little Bigwig with when the guy takes over the Minnesota Twins, and the kid says like, you're going to pitch, and you're going to pitch great every time because you don't. Everybody's going to see that you suck, and then nobody's going to want you. And it's like, oh, you caught me.
But I mean, let's see. The Thunder have Steve Adams, Schroeder, Roberson,
all on the block.
Shai Gorgeous Alexander.
He's staying.
Danilo Gallinari.
He'll go if they can find somebody for him.
CP3.
He'll get traded if they can too. This is the thing. Was it 17 draft picks in the next 8 years?
17 draft picks, and they have
8 years.
They flipped Westbrook and George into arguably the largest haul in NBA history for draft picks.
For 8 straight picks and 4 swaps, and then they also traded Jeremy Grant for a first-round pick. And they're gonna shop everybody on there. They're gonna end up with close to 20 first-round picks in the next 8 years.
Jeremy Grant ended up going to what, Denver?
Yes,
that's a
big help.
That's
for
a
them.
huge help.
That gives them a wing defender who can score some.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge deal. I think that actually improves them a good bit. And my whole prediction that they're gonna be a better team next year with a worse record.
You mean the one that you co-opted for me?
It was but it was a very good prediction.
Of which and previously before that you had Denver as being like a top seed. So you're now having Houston jumping all of these teams that you like better.
I think so. After that trade, yeah, I think it's gonna be Houston and then probably Denver at 1 and 2, and then a combination of Lakers and Clippers. So
you're putting Utah and Portland as 5, 6.
Yeah. And then 7, it's going to be any combination of Sacramento, Pelicans, Spurs, and like I said, maybe Oklahoma City. So, yeah.
I don't get where you see OKC winning games.
I think Chris Paul is going to do a good job of that. If that team, as it currently stands, without any moves, I think they're going to have a shot.
You think Chris Paul with more workload is going to be healthier?
They have a bigger
He's not
issue
healthy right now.
Oklahoma City has a bigger issue now than they did last year with wing scoring. They have no Paul George and no Jeremy Grant. They have nobody to score from outside.
Yeah,
Gallinari can score 19 games.
19 a game, so that's the one guy.
And everyone, I mean, as much as everyone likes to hate on CP3,
he's a tremendous classic point guard. That's not how we.
He's a classic point guard. He generally tends to make other people around him better. So we'll see what happens.
I do find it amusing that people are like, "Oh, well, he's going to get bought out." They're not signing $100 million check.
Million.
And the thing is, Chris Paul was the Players Union president. He may still be, but he was definitely the president when they signed this collective bargaining agreement that kicked in the Supermax deals and all the things. That's why he was always going to take the Supermax deal no matter the situation, and which is why I had to be traded the year before so to still be eligible for that in Houston. But there was no way he's going to take a buyout for less than the full amount from that, because it's basically saying it's like,
can they Bobby Bonilla him?
No, they can only do a stretch over a 3-year period. Okay. So they can only really do that for his last year of his contract.
I was about to say he has 3 years left.
Yeah, it's 3 years left. So it's like it's the same amount. It's the same thing.
He's not getting bought out, nor I think he's going to get traded. But you never know.
No one would take it. God damn it, Pat Riley, don't do it.
They may. I mean, in 2 years you may take, or it could be one of those Minnesota things where you're like, oh well, Wiggins and whatever, and we'll see what happens. But no, somebody. No, because nobody
if I'm OKC, I would 100% take Wiggins right now for him.
And maybe because they have him for 4 years, so they don't have to worry about the issue for 3 years. And by then they could draft some people, and Wiggins like, maybe I'm. And again, Wiggins is Canadian; he might be okay staying there.
And
it's in Minnesota, so.
Well, you talking about swapping Wiggins for CP3?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they need a point guard.
And
he'd be the perfect point guard for that.
And
team.
then OKC would. I mean, the interesting thing is, and he will absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely would. Cat's kind of a pussy.
I mean, if Jimmy Butler did that,
he is kind of a pussy.
Can't be that big and fragile. Come on, man, you're making us look bad.
And he's doing those numbers. Just think what he could do if he was angry.
If he had a nutsack, a little testosterone in him.
The funny thing, of course, is that Chris Paul is the entire reason there's basketball in Oklahoma City in the first place.
Yep.
Because after Katrina hit,
the
Hornets
played
there
for a year
for about 60 games over 2 years, and they just like, oh, well, we need to put a team there.
Yeah, but the way they got that team still kind of sucks. Seattle got fucked.
They absolutely should go back to Seattle.
Seattle should have never lost that team. And the way that all that went down.
Well, I think that's because they were still putting up the money for the football stadium, and they didn't have the money for the basketball stadium as well. And both of them were owned by billionaires that should have helped a little more than they did.
We're going to talk a little bit about Kawhi and George going to the Clippers, and George.
6 draft picks.
Kawhi being the Palpatine of the NBA.
Board man gets paid.
No, just think about that, though. Like, this guy has been wheeling and dealing, manipulating and causing people to delay and doing all kinds of shit, all in the name of...
It's like the quiet guy that you find out the killer at the end.
He's Kaiser Soze.
It's the funniest thing because Anthony Davis was interviewed, and they were asking him, it's like, what did you do about it? Oh, I tried recruiting him, and I was texting him, and it's like, hey, you want to come down here? And but then I'm sitting there, and it's like, am I texting him too much? Am I not texting me enough? Does he like what I'm saying? Does he not? It's like, he's trying to date a girl, and he doesn't know what to say. Yeah. It's like he's not responding at all.
So just do what most guys do: shoot over a dick pic.
Send a pic of some championship trophies.
It's a string.
God.
It's a string of like 20
Could you imagine
texts, all on red, and no response.
Could you imagine if you were gay with Kawhi Leonard, how terrifying that hand job would be? God,
I was going through after watching that interview clip on YouTube.
Your dick would look like this.
They had like his funniest moments, and most of those are the Heb grocery store in Texas. And they're a magnificent series of commercials that they do with the Spurs, and they play up all these things. And he is a funny, like all these people say, he's a funny guy. He just doesn't give that outside of this. But there's one thing that somebody did where they had these giant, ridiculous hands, and they're playing a game of pig. And the one guy who came up with it, he can't even grab this super large basketball to even get the ball above his head. And Kawhi's like, oh yeah, he made all 3 of his shots first attempt. It's like, oh, this is the easiest thing ever. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's like they're just gloves. They aren't like fake hands.
All right, guys. So now that we know that just happened, give me your top 5 in the West.
I'm not going to bail. I'm not going to bail on Portland because that's what I've said.
First in the West.
First, you can't think the Clippers are going to win the title and then stick to your guns with Portland. Just change it.
Well, this is top 5. Portland can be the number 1 seed.
But you also said they was going to win. You also think Portland
I did say Portland. I said Portland, and but mostly because at the time I was thinking that the Lakers weren't going to come together, and with the basis of this group of people, even more so, I think it'll be a little more difficult for that to just.
I think their starting 5 is fantastic.
I think that
as it currently stands,
again, they're a fantasy league basketball team. It's like, oh, those 5 guys will be great.
I think it works.
They don't work. They don't play well together.
I think they will. I think LeBron will make that.
If
work.
LeBron has to spend 82 games getting these guys to play nice to each other, he will not be able to do what he needs to do in the playoffs.
It's already been proven that Cousins can play with Davis, and Cousins is probably going to be coming off the bench anyway.
No, he's not. He's going to be starting at center because Anthony Davis is going to be a pansy about this and want to play power forward.
JaVale could start.
And one of them
and play 18 minutes.
Cousins or McGee is going to be
given his
center.
Injury issue and given
so I want him running and jumping further away from the hoop.
No,
just be at the goal and just throw the ball up there.
That's what I'm saying.
Clashing into big dudes gets you hurt more than running and jumping.
Given what's going to be happening with him, I think he's going to be restricted minutes. They're all going to be on restricted minutes. That's the thing.
Well, this keeps them away from being the number 1 seed in the West.
They don't want to be number 1 seed.
Don't.
I think
they don't.
LeBron rarely is the number 1 seed.
They just want to.
I think playing the number 8 or number 7 in the West could be scary.
Well, no, it's
Golden
not.
State.
It's not going to be fun. Oh yeah, that's speaking of playoff.
Golden State with Clay coming back. Granted,
Clay would be hitting his stride around the playoffs. Probably.
It really depends on when Clay comes back, but I really don't have a lot of faith in that current team.
Portland Clippers, Lakers, Denver 1 through 4, Utah 5, Houston 6, the San Antonio 7, Golden State 8.
Wow.
So no Sacramento and no
Denver, no New Orleans.
Not yet.
New Orleans.
San Antonio could be 8, and but I think Golden State's 8.
John's big on Zion. Not as big as Zion is
not
himself.
Zion,
but
not as big as Dikembe Mutombo.
I'm not gonna lie, Zion looked out of shape, and everyone says he looked out of shape.
Did you see the picture when they showed it? It's like, that's a huge guy for his stomach to be protruding on.
300 pounds plus right now.
That's what they're guessing.
But we'll see what happens. He
didn't look like that at Duke.
No, he didn't
at all.
No, he didn't.
Well, I mean, he went number 1. Kid probably went partied in ham and literally ate a ham.
You don't do that in a week. That's like 3 months.
That's
worth of,
since the last game.
Yeah, that's since the Elite 8 or whatever.
I'm telling you, I saw when they showed that practice highlight of him getting up and dunking in the middle of the lane. I'm like, he got no lift.
Oh no, he had no lift when he stole the ball from Knox. I saw like
he used to be like looking at the rim.
Yeah, when he looked struggle bus on that jump. I'm like, Then again, he might still be.
That's why Knox could look like he got hit by a fucking bus.
Yeah, I mean, he was jumping with a basketball and Knox's entire basketball career. So I mean, it was weighing him down.
It's true, but but at the same time, I will say he could still very well.
You ever seen a dead body? There's one right there.
He could still very well be nursing an injury. I mean, right now they're saying that Reddish is still nursing a midsection injury that no one even
they're
knew
going to
about.
say everything they can about that, but to explain his
Cam
shooting.
Reddish is nursing not being a fantastic basketball player.
Yes.
Oh no, they said he had a broken rib and he has a midsection injury. So who knows?
How are you running up and down a court with a broken
You
rib?
could not.
Oh my God, I can't even sit here and think about that and not like be short of breath.
I've never had one, but I'm wincing
We just
thinking
saw
about
we
it.
just saw Kevon Looney do it for an entire playoffs. almost.
Shoulder.
Shoulder. That was like an
No, no,
upper
no, no, no.
chest. That was it.
Shoulder.
No, it was not a
Absolutely
lower. It was
shoulder.
up
It was
higher.
I could have
It
sworn
was high.
he also
It
had
was
a
like a
broken.
high chip.
Well, no, it was
I
like
could have sworn it
a,
was another rib injury too that was included with that.
that might have been later.
Later
but no,
during-
the big,
no,
the
during-
big thing was up here, but that was only a bruise. It definitely wasn't a fracture. or
All right,
anything.
top 5 go. West.
West in order.
Yes, in order. From 5 to 1.
Seeding or who's the best team?
Seeding.
Seeding. Clippers.
1.
No. Denver, Clippers, Lakers. No, good stuff.
You know, Denver actually might have the number one seed because they're getting favored for that because it's what are they playing? They're playing Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio.
They also
right?
have the best home
They got
court
the best
playing
division.
in Denver.
and
But,
and they've got the easier division.
yeah.
Which is crazy because Jokic doesn't look like he's in shape still either. We haven't seen him completely like. He still looks like Kevin Love when Kevin Love was in the league for the
But
first
see,
few
that's
years.
the thing though, is like that
But
out
that's
of
a very
shape,
Euro thing.
but that out of shape guy is doing that in Denver. So when he's going on the road with
got
the
gas
extra
tank.
oxygen,
yeah, he's
got
got
the gas
tank. Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is like
he's a diesel truck.
Yes.
he hasn't quite fully he hasn't quite fully committed to like making his body better. Like remember
Well,
Kevin
how old is he?
25.
he's like no 24, 23.
So I mean, he should be getting into that area where it's like maybe I should work out because that's clearly not a European thing. Maybe I should work out a little.
Oh no, man, he's fucking hooping.
Well, actually, the only thing he needs to do is just be on the treadmill. Just run a little more.
You can get up and down. You're fine.
Just
he
run a little more.
He showed with his game. He don't have to jump.
He's
Yeah,
only 24.
Yeah, 24. He
He was 1 year off.
yeah, he's fine. Though. I mean,
When's his birthday?
his the way that he plays and what he can do with that team, and they've made the commitment to the team. It's like this is our guys.
No, but what I'm saying is that he plays the game very much like I'm not gonna say like Kevin Love. I'm just saying like Kevin Love wasn't in great shape.
No, he plays Arvydas Sabonis.
Prime Sabonis that we didn't see
Yes.
because he was overseas.
Yeah, you're right. And but also Sabonis wasn't always in great shape.
Oh no, he was in fantastic shape. He's the guy who
he
smoked
got
the
old.
'88 Olympic team as a 19-year-old. He was 7'2" and like 240 or something. He was like ridiculously athletic, and then he busted his knees a couple of times because the way they made him play in
Yeah.
the Eastern leagues. And then when he finally came here, he was done. Yet he was still destroying people from his passing from wherever they put him on the court. And then he added a 3-point shot near the end of his career.
All I'm saying is he hasn't quite gotten into the shape that he can tip-top shape he can get into. Because remember, like I said, Kevin Love was really out of shape until about 25, and out of nowhere, Kevin Love came back into the league like 30 pounds later.
The way Sabonis used his body to pass the ball was the greatest thing you ever saw in your life. People running off screens, he's like, ooh.
I mean, because it's like the defender would be blocked by the body,
Exactly.
could not
It
even
was be-
see
it
the
was-
ball.
It was beautiful. Yeah, I love it. I try to do it the best I can, but it's hard.
Who was your 5?
Oh man! All right, so now we're at 4. All right, Utah 4, and then 5 is tough, man.
No, Houston, no.
I'm on the fence. It might be.
You really hate Harden.
Well,
It's just it's an awkward fit.
Well, yeah,
if
yeah.
it fits, who knows?
Now, don't get me wrong. It's an awkward fit. It's better than the collapse I predicted
Oh,
with
yes.
Paul there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no.
So I may have to. I think I'm going Houston 5.
I left him in the playoffs.
But see, this is the thing. Houston's star heavy, but I think Utah is just fit perfect.
And see, that's the thing is like
As
Utah.
constructed.
Oh,
Yes.
Utah is
That's going to be just a seamless fit on the basketball court.
every player that they added, all of the people that they
Who did
already
they
have
add?
there.
They added-
Bogdanovich, Conley,
And they
Oh,
added
they added
another.
and they got
Conley.
rid of Favors so they can
They got
run a
rid
little
of
more.
Favors,
And they got rid of Rubio.
and they got another backup center. Another guy there, I can't. Gosh, who was? But that's an old school traditional basketball setup. The way that they are
Kind of like what we saw with
with
Toronto.
Toronto, and also defense first. But the thing that's terrifically
Conley,
impressive
Mitchell,
out
the
there,
good Bogdanovich, who's the 4, and then Gobert. That's a good lineup.
well, Ingles will come off the bench.
Ingles can play the 4.
He could play. I know he can't. He can, and when he comes off, he does do that at times. But that's a Utah is going to be the team that could go anywhere from 3 to 7, and
Real quick.
and just because of the nature of the wins and losses in the West.
Like
but
Thunder.
no matter what, you don't want to play them.
Nope.
It's like that. There will be more people trying to avoid Utah in the first round than anybody else because especially coaches, because they'll know the players are like, okay, I'm looking at that second round to one of the Los Angeles teams or Denver or whomever. We got to focus on that. And then next thing you know, you're down 3-1 to Utah. And you won't be able to score the points to come back and beat them. And if they happen to be the 4th seed, you don't want to play a Game 7 in Utah.
So Quinn Snyder's still the coach there. Huh, that's crazy. Anyways.
Do coaches do great in the NBA because they can't, bust them for cheating and paying players?
Yeah, you're right. So for me, my top 5 in the West is going to be, I would say, Denver, Houston.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Over the Clippers?
Over both LA teams?
Oh.
I'd just say Lakers, Clippers.
I think the Clippers make them cry in a playoff series.
Well, admittedly, the Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento, Golden State, and Phoenix are in a division, so they play each other more so. So I mean, everybody gets all the Phoenix wins, and they get some of the Golden State wins earlier, and maybe Sacramento, but it's tougher playing against each other. And what is it? Utah, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, and Memphis. So I mean, that benefits Utah or Denver, and then Denver has the Dallas teams or the Texas teams. So I mean, that kind of helps Denver. Denver and Utah have the opportunity to get the wins because of the nature of the rest of their division.
We're not even talking about
but they're still in the West.
The Mavericks have
Don't you play every team in the West 4 times and every team in the East twice?
You play everybody in the NBA twice. You play everybody in your conference at least 3 times, and I think you play your division opponents at least 4, depending on the way it falls out, maybe a 5th.
So we haven't even talked about the Mavericks having a shot with Luka and
Because they don't.
They don't.
Porzingis.
What's the thing is it's New Orleans, Sacramento, and Dallas in the East could be 6, 7, 8.
Oh, absolutely.
But in the West, it's like it doesn't matter. Porzingis and Luka, they could come. He can come back completely 100% from health. Doncic could completely do what he did last year and not have a sophomore slump.
At that point, he's under. If he does the same thing he did last year and improves, he's under MVP consideration.
No, he's not, because he won't be in the playoffs. And the teams that are in the playoffs will have a similar-ish type of guy.
I think if
Denver's the number 1 seed, Jokic is in that conversation. He jumps ahead just by the nature of Westbrook and Harden being on the same team. They're both out of that conversation.
Jokic is my pick for MVP this year.
It's Jokic and Giannis because Paul George.
It's hard to win it twice.
Well, and also him being the second banana to Leonard takes away his opportunity. This upcoming year,
Kawhi can't win it missing 20 games.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the press. The media will be looking for him to give them a reason not to give it to him. Missing 20 games will be that. And then that leaves it to, well, if Giannis improves, I'm only 60% of what he's going to be. If he is 95% of what he's going to be, and he has 5 more percent, he's an MVP again. And he's saying he's only 60% of what he's going to be.
Giannis, yeah, he came out and said, yesterday he's only reached 60% of his full potential, and you're just like, that's terrifying.
Again, if he's only 95% of it, but again, if he adds a 3-point shot, what he can do just because of that.
That is the last player in the league I would want to guard.
You're a big guy, he's going to beat you to the hoop. You're a small guy, he's going to shoot over the top of you or back you in and embarrass you. And if you're trying to defend him on the break, either you can't keep up because of his strides, or you can keep up and he just dunks on you because he's bigger than you.
It's going to be terrifying.
He would gazelle me all day.
And he's what, like 78, 80% from the free throw line or higher?
70-ish, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so my top 5 is going to be right now.
He had Shaq stats as a wing player
this year. We shot like that, 60% from the floor?
27 points and 12.5 rebounds?
And 60% from the field, yeah.
Yeah, that's Shaq.
I mean,
he's starting his offense 15 feet further away from the basket.
Yep. Okay, so my West top 5 is going to be Denver, Houston, Lakers, Clippers, and I'm going to say Portland at 5. So there we go. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I think Houston's going to be very good. They haven't been worse than 3 in the last 2 years. So, yeah.
And
I think
with 10 days with 6 games to go, they had an outside shot for the number 1 seed just this past season.
Yeah. So
best record in the league post All-Star break.
And I just think Westbrook he's a great player, and I think him and Harden are just going to find a way to work it.
The main thing it did is it saved you from the imminent collapse that you were going to have in the locker room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just off that, you salvage something.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't really fit.
They'll make it fit. Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and get off NBA talk, and we're going to go and switch over to NFL talk. We're going to do something for the third. It's going to be the third time.
attempt.
You know how hard it's going to be to make this pun sound organic again? I need that laugh, Jerry. Hold on to that.
It's so good.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and run through our this week. We're going to go and run through the win totals for every team in the NFL this upcoming season. Also read an article saying that the Panthers are actually going to be a team you should watch out for as a contender. Because
I mean,
Even though John doesn't think they have a good running back.
I don't doubt that. They were 8-2 or
me
something.
saying he's not a top 5 running back is not saying he's not a good running back. I just don't think he's a top 5 running back. Yes,
You said he was a reach at what was it, the 9th pick?
don't like it at 9.
2,000 yards.
I said about any running back though, unless you're Saquon Barkley or Zeke or something like that.
Or Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah.
who's seen in Mexico with Olivia Culpo.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's winning at life.
He is, and he also packed on 20 pounds. That's the thing. He packed on weight this year, and he looks
More awesome.
more awesome. Listen,
How are you this down on a Duke related athlete?
Listen, I think he's gonna have a breakout season, possibly, but I also think his stats are actually.
I'm sorry, what? He's going to have a what? He had 100+ receptions last year and 1,000 yards rushing.
What I'm trying
A breakout season this year?
I finish?
The Panthers' record for total yards from scrimmage.
What was that? We were rolling out Tim Biakapatuka.
Total yards. But this is the 2 greatest offensive players in Panthers history are on this team.
This year with a healthy Cam. And he hasn't played with a healthy Cam.
Potentially a good offensive
No,
line.
I think genuinely, with Darrell Williams coming back and a few other things happening, I think I have actually a good line. No, but what I'm saying is I think with a healthier Cam Newton, Cam couldn't throw he actually came out in a minute. He's like, dude, I couldn't throw the ball more than 30 yards.
Who are 2 of the 3 best running backs over the last 30 years?
2 of the 3?
Yeah. Who would you say are the 3 best running backs over the last 30 years?
Over the last 30 years. 30 years?
Yeah, 30 years.
That's a lot of years.
I know.
Darius Sanders, Tomlinson, and
Did you put Emmitt Smith up in there?
It's almost 20.
no. We already went through this conversation. You know what I think about Emmitt Smith.
Would you say
Well,
Barry Sanders and who?
This
Barry
Josh, this
Sanders-
is all a setup for John. Emmitt Smith, who's the all-time leading NFL
Yeah.
rusher, his offensive coordinator was
Norv Turner.
and LaDainian Tomlinson, who was his offensive coordinator and head
Norv
coach for most of his
Turner.
career. And who's the offensive coordinator for Christian McCaffrey?
Turner.
He is going to give him every opportunity to
Absolutely.
have the most yards and touchdowns.
I get that, but I think with a healthier Cam throwing the ball deep, if Cam could throw the ball deep, he might not be relying on Christian being his safety blanket as much this year.
But it works even better. If he only catches the ball 60 times, he's going to catch it in more space.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He'll have
No,
less
no.
receptions and more yards.
Potentially.
And he'll probably have more rushing yards because if you have to defend deep, there'll be less 8 men, 7 men in the
that's what I'm
box.
saying.
And as quick as he
the
is,
extra weight that he's packed on, you'll be able to get through the tackles a lot. But even though he didn't do it that bad last year, I didn't really think he was a lot of edge rushing or edge around or edge. Or
no, I do agree. It's the amount of times that they force him to run between the tackles is ridiculous.
was not good last year.
So close.
I know. It's just ridiculous how many times he tried to
See how easy it is to say that R word?
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I know. My family and I have season tickets, and I watched him play every game since he's been in the league, and
you weren't able to count how many yards he had or receptions because it was a really high number.
it was. But at the same time, when he ran between the tackles, like, dude, why are you doing that?
But
Our
that's
line
not his.
sucks,
That's
and
not
he's
his
tiny.
That's not his. But again, that's why getting the ball out in the flat with 100+ receptions. I mean, what do you average per catch? 7-8 yards a catch. Yeah. And what do you average per rush? Like 5 yards a catch.
5 yards a
So
carry.
2 touches is a first down.
We'll see what happens. But I think, honestly, overall, the team's going to be better. And if Cam's healthier, I think his production may drop a little bit, but it'll just be – it's going to be – he actually may get more yards per carry.
But, I mean,
it's just going to be a more balance. Not 100 receptions and stuff like that, though.
But it's also the theory / construction of a football team. It's like he's a little guy. He's going to get hurt. He said, but if you win the Super Bowl this year and he's like broken after this, it's like, is anybody really bothered by this?
Nope.
And probably he isn't either because like I got my Super Bowl. And it's like you're going to give me some money to like thank me, and so we'll be all right.
I think a
I think
combination.
for the sake of the world, Mike Vrabel needs to not win the Super Bowl.
I know. I kind of want to. So he cut his dick off.
Did you hear the interview? It's even better hearing
No.
the interview. So the question he was asked is like, would you cut your dick off to win a Super Bowl?
They asked that question. Who asked it?
There was-
Barstool
it was
Sports?
I have no idea, but it's like there's actual audio of this. It's like, would you lose your and I think they actually say dick instead of penis. And his response is, I've been married for 20 years. Yeah, why not?
He slept on the couch that night.
And then he's probably yelling, see, this is why. I mean, it's not just a quote. There's actual audio of it. It's amazing.
Beautiful. I gotta hear that right when we're done.
But his exasperation is like, I've been married for 20 years. Sure, why not?
So we're going to go ahead and break down this wins total. Jesus. Man.
Oh, I feel like death.
Kids don't get married. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start off with win totals for the season. I
affirm that.
This is starting off, I think, with the team that's predicted to have the most wins, and from there down. So let's go ahead and say over-under for each team. I'm going to go ahead and start with New England at 11.
Under.
Over.
I kind of want to say push, but we're not going to do push. But I'm going to say over, actually. I feel like that may have changed what I said previously, but now that I've been thinking about it more, over. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs, 10.5. They won 12 last year. I say over.
Over 11.
Over.
Los Angeles Rams, 10.5. They won 13 last year. I say over.
Over.
New Orleans, Jerry?
Under.
And also, remember, guys, what we did last week, when we
have ones that we're emphatically sure of, we'll put a bet.
Yeah, well, we will
asterisk on
we will
it.
put an asterisk bet on it. So for me, I think Kansas City Chiefs is a bet. I would definitely bet that 10.5 for the Chiefs. Andy Reid is a regular season coaching savant. He just gets
He's
things
renowned
done,
throughout the league as a terrific coach.
except for when it comes to playoffs and time management. In the
Time
playoffs,
management.
in
Everybody
the playoffs,
gets one time.
for some reason, I don't know what happens. He goes full blown Forrest Gump.
Well, a quarter, a third to a half the time is that. The other half is that he's just happened to run into much better teams, and it was a bad situation.
All right, guys. So New Orleans Saints 10.5. They won 13 last year. I say under.
Under. I say 10.
Under, no Ingram.
I say 10.
Breezy, you're older.
Chargers 9.5. They won 12 last year.
Over.
Under, because for some reason,
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, well, the Melvin Gordon issue, but also Phillip Rivers is inherently an 8-8 quarterback. For some reason,
they won 12
he's
last
better
year.
than that, which means they're going to come back down.
I think their defense is fucking loaded.
Oh, it might be it's the two best defensive ends in all of football.
Melvin Ingram and Bosa, but Bosa, who knows if he can stay healthy? But we'll see. Me personally,
and his danger is the fact that his brother is running his mouth off. That he might have people coming after him thinking he said that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. His brother's an idiot. He's a MAGA freak. You know what? With the Chargers, I'm going to say over, but I think it's under 12. But I keep
10.5.
I keep that's 9.5.
9. I think it's 9.
I keep talking about it. I think it's already happened with Eli. I think this is the year we're coming we're quickly approaching Phillip Rivers and Roethlisberger just hitting that crater. There are no Brady's. They're not out there, sleeping in hyperbaric chambers and probably secretly flying off to Germany.
Well, the benefit that Rivers has had is he's consistently had better offensive lines than both Manning and Therapist. So he hasn't taken the amount of brutal hits and beatings that the other guys have.
Okay, so Chicago Bears 9. They won 12 last year. I thought that 12 wins was fluky as shit, but that defense
was last year.
But that defense, and you know what?
That division's garbage.
It is.
The division is garbage.
Over.
I'm gonna say under actually, but I think Khalil Mack will be in the running.
Who do you think will win the division then?
Somebody has to.
Someone has to. I mean,
they're going to win it with 9 wins.
I think they can win it with 8 wins.
Okay.
But also at the same time, I think Khalil Mack will be in the running for MVP next year.
They got 6 free wins.
Khalil Mack might actually be the first defensive MVP we've had since.
Was it Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor, I want to say.
Lawrence Taylor was in '83.
I want to say it's Lawrence Taylor, first defensive MVP we've had. The last one. Look it up.
Which is possible because they've added the Defensive Player of the Year award to kind of alleviate that.
All right, kids, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Indianapolis Colts. They won 10 games last year.
Whatever it is,
over.
No,
didn't J.J. Watt was an MVP or co-MVP?
He never won MVP.
Always the defensive player one.
Yeah, he won defensive player.
Yeah, I think
the last time Watt won defensive player of the year was Cam Newton's MVP season, 2015.
Yes.
So
there's a whole Houston thing going on.
Yeah, because Donald has now taken over the mantle as best.
Well, there are 4.
Him and Mack.
There are 4 99s in Madden for this upcoming season. Khalil Mack is one. Aaron
Donald.
Donald is one. There's only one on offense, which is DeAndre Hopkins, and then Bobby Wagner is the other one.
Bobby Wagner.
He's always in the right place.
Yeah, no.
Lawrence Taylor was 86.
86.
But
when they win the Super Bowl.
But he's not whatever.
He's always in the right place.
I know, but he's not better than Luke. All right.
He can stay on the field more.
This is true. But
Availability.
Availability is important, but he's not. If they were both had the same health,
Last
Luke,
one.
So
So I said Lawrence Taylor's lost defensive MVP.
It's all quarterbacks and running backs.
I think
I think they
mostly
created
quarterbacks.
defensive player. They created a defensive player of the year award to alleviate that
Yeah,
issue.
but you know what?
Which is odd because they still have an offensive player of the year award too.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
Because there's been an occasion where the MVP has not been the offensive player of the award winner. Which is
8 running backs since 1986.
Yeah, but it's all quarterbacks.
Yeah, besides that.
LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders. That's like the list.
Thurman Thomas.
Is Emmitt Smith won MVP?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's LT. I think
Marshall Faulk.
Oh,
yeah.
Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk. I think
93, Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Suck it, John.
Whatever. Fuck him. Colts 9.5. Bet over. All day. Bet over.
Over for the Colts.
That division's trash.
13.
Eagles 9.5. Under.
Wentz gets hurt.
Another bet
Over,
for me.
10.
Cleveland is at 9. I bet over. Over.
That's a push.
It is a push, but I'm gonna say under. It's like it's
Cleveland.
8
I'll say under.
because
They won 7 games last year and they could have won 2 easily.
Well, and again, Mayfield didn't start the first 2 games, which could have been the difference.
And they have one game where they
playoffs.
missed 5 kicks.
But the issue is though, it's like they still have to be at 7 wins or 8 wins and deal with that pressure and expectation, that fan base, and I don't believe in that. Oh, you got to prove your dues sort of thing. But you do have to show that you can win in situations that you're unprepared for. And Cleveland has not been in anything like that.
Please
in
don't die.
decades.
Okay, Green Bay Packers.
We can't drag you out of here.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna. I did back yesterday. All right, Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers at 9 wins.
Ugh,
Under. Sorry, Aaron. I love you.
I think Aaron.
He may throw for
He already hates
4,000
his
yards
coach.
and 40 touchdowns, and it's going to be under.
That coaching hire didn't make any sense. The offensive coordinator, the most average offense in the NFL.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say, I want to say push, but I'll say under. All right, guys, here we go. Another bet for me. Pittsburgh Steelers, total wins 9. They won 9 last year.
Over.
I say under. Beat the fuck out of that under. They're going to win 6 games this year. And Ben Ross, and the rapist, as my producer likes to say, therapist. I think he finally bites the fucking big one. He's out of the league by the end of the season because of injury. I think this is his year to finally just fucking go down.
Hope Ben wins MVP just for you.
That's not happening. He's never even been in the running for MVP. And anyways,
which is kind of odd, as much as everybody has such a hard on for quarterbacks and the
matter.
success that they've had at times.
He's got all the success you could have.
Listen, I'm on to Antonio Brown carried his fat lard ass for the last several years.
You can say that, but when you look out through the
Did he
history
win
of
both Super Bowls
Steelers,
before he got there?
but you look at the history. He's been to 3 before he got there. You look at the history of the Steelers organization, the way that they draft wide receivers, and the lack of success those wide receivers.
Brown was the number 2 guy at
have
first.
had
It's funny.
elsewhere. It's like Wallace, and Sanders. Sanders, but he was at
Manny,
Denver with Manning.
Manny Sanders
So it's
went
like
to Denver, and he's had an
no
amazing
idea.
career.
We have
since
no
then.
idea though if Sanders is actually good or he just plays with Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
No. He played with who did he play with last year? He had almost 100 receptions last year.
Nobody had it made more than Jerry Rice.
Oh my God.
But no, Manny Sanders.
The worst quarterback he played for was the MVP of the league.
Gannon?
That year. Was the MVP of the league that year.
Yeah.
No. Manny Sanders has had a great career, even without Manning since then. So I'm going to say bet the under on the Steelers at 9 wins, pound it into the ground. Minnesota Vikings, 9 wins. I say under.
I got him at 8.
And Kirk Cousins, I do not trust.
Well, it's not even Cousins. They can't block for him. He hasn't been able to stand up.
Dalvin
Can't
Cook
do anything.
can't stay
And
healthy.
Dalvin Cook can't stay
that's
on the
the worst
fucking
part.
field.
Every year I take him in fantasy, kills it, gets hurt.
Yeah.
I don't like.
It's the best 3 weeks of my life.
I never liked Dalvin Cook. I don't.
He's
draft-
Oh, he's a
fantastic.
fantastic
He's
running
great.
back.
I know, but no. Even in college, you couldn't stay healthy. There was talk that the Panthers were going to draft him. Like, please don't draft him. Please don't draft him. Please don't draft him. We ended up taking Christian McCaffrey.
he is
Worked out.
He
Yeah,
is
it worked out
a
pretty well.
difference-making talent, but again, he can't
stay
stay on the
healthy.
field.
And if you're a running back, you can't stay on the field. You're worthless. All right, Dallas Cowboys 9. I say over.
It's got to be over.
It's gotta be over.
Their defense is better. Most of the time, they remember to run the ball.
And I mean,
that division is not great.
And after they added,
It's always the Alabama wide receiver I can never remember.
yeah, because he was in the worst situation ever.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. I mean, hey, they added him. He actually stabilized that offense. And who knows? Zeke's probably going to get 500 touches this year. For some reason, they don't give them those kind of
On the
touches.
football field.
Ah. All right. So, what do you say? Did you say over or under?
For Minnesota?
Dallas.
No, Cowboys.
What is it?
9.
That's a push.
I say over bet.
I think it's 10. I think they.
Yeah, over. Let's go over.
Atlanta Falcons, 8.5. I say over. As much as it pains you to say
Under.
that.
That's a tough division, man.
They only won 7, but I think they're a better.
They were a better team than the 7 wins they had last year.
Yeah,
but it's
they're just going to score touchdowns. And those are fluky things, man. That could very well change this year.
Didn't they have 2 defensive starters get injured week 1 against Philly on Thursday?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they're going to have over. I think we're going to be. I honestly think the South.
It's a 9.5.
8.5.
Oh,
I say over. That's
under 8 wins.
That's a perfect.
I think it's 8.
It's a good number.
That's a perfect number.
It is.
I think over. I think we're going to be one of the best divisions. We're going to be the top 3 teams are going to be very competitive.
Yeah, so everybody with Tampa Bay every year. Remember when Tampa Bay was scary for 2 weeks too last year?
No, God.
Baltimore. Oh, Fitzmagic.
Yeah, bring it to Miami, baby.
Yeah, he's in Miami.
All right, Baltimore Ravens, 8.5 wins.
Under.
Bet your life. Bet the Ravens. Nevermore. Give me the organic laugh from last time.
funny.
Give me the organic laugh. Give it to me. Give it
All right, Seattle Seahawks, 8.5.
And it's so under. I don't even know how they choose 6.5.
I think it's 4.
I think 4 is a push. I think 4 is like week 16 or 17 when
I
they get
think
that
they're
one.
going to surprise you, and I think Russell.
They're going to
Wilson,
surprise us that they're going to stay with that offense for all 17 weeks.
I think Russell Wilson actually might be an MVP consideration.
That's in Seattle. We're still in Baltimore.
Oh no, I was on Seattle. I moved on to
we
8.5.
I was
Oh
saying
my bad, I
Baltimore.
didn't hear y'all.
What'd you say was Seattle's number?
8.5.
Over.
I say over too.
Over.
I say over. As much as it pains me, I hate Seattle. Houston Texans, 8.5. I bet over.
I'm taking over.
Yeah. Over. Besides Indy, that division's soft.
You guys haven't really said bet yet. I've been saying.
I've said bet twice.
I've said
I'm
bet
going
like
on
5
Baltimore.
times.
I'll say bet
Yeah,
on
because
Baltimore.
that's because you're an
And I'll
idiot.
say bet on. No, I won't say bet on Seattle. I don't bet on.
parlay
teams I like.
all these people.
I bet on the Colts. I bet on the Ravens. And
Bet on the Colts. Bet on the Ravens.
yeah,
Yeah, I bet on Pittsburgh,
and Cleveland.
Cleveland. No, I also bet on
San Diego, didn't
San
you?
Diego, and I also bet on New England. All right, we had the Houston Texans at 8.5. I say bet over.
Over.
Easy. I think.
Watson's injury prone though.
The interesting thing is if they start off 1-3 or even 2-2, they can finally fire the coach, which would actually I think help them the
That would
last
help
half of
them.
the season.
Tennessee Titans 8. I say bet
God,
under.
that is the worst. That is literally the worst number for that team.
I got under.
I think Marcus
I think
Mariota's
it is
worth
under.
4 wins. He's
Well,
fucking terrible.
And then
What-
Tannehill come in and give you 2-6.
Well, Marcus Mariota can't stay on the field. Though.
Neither
That's the
can
whole
Tannehill.
issue. No, neither one of them can.
Go look.
Between the two of them, you're still not going to get 10
When you
games
have some
out of
time off,
you
look
got
at,
one knee between 2 guys.
When you have some time off, look at Marcus Mariota's stats. I have people telling me that Cam Newton's a shitty quarterback and trying to tout Mariota. Fuck those people, by the
Newton
way.
was an MVP of the league. How's he a
Exactly.
bad quarterback?
Mariota threw for 200 yards like twice last
No
year.
bad player's ever been MVP.
The
Fuck you talking about?
Not in the NFL.
The thing that's
Not in the NBA. Anywhere.
No,
the
not
thing
in
that gets
NBA.
people in with Newton is when you watch him play after play, game after game, you see that his accuracy, and you just wonder about that. It's like if he could just be just a little more. He's of the era of the NFL where everybody throws at 65 to 70% completion percentage. He's solidly in the 55 to 57 range.
No, he's been in 60s the last couple
When
years.
he gets there,
Yeah.
that's the difference
and-
between the team. When he's
and
above
last-
62%, he is one of the best quarterbacks to play the
And
game.
last year he was in 70s before he got injured.
which is what
And I think
separated him from everybody else.
Weren't they 6-2?
Yeah, before the
And then lost 6 straight.
before the Steelers broke him.
I thought it was 8.
8 straight, yeah. They lost their last 8.
Yeah,
Didn't they lose to the Saints backups
Yes.
at the end of the season?
Yeah.
and then the thing is, the Steelers
In a
literally
game they needed to win to get into the
the
playoffs.
Steelers broke them. It was a make or break game, and we got embarrassed on national television.
That's the game he got hurt.
Yeah, I remember
But
that.
but even then, the week after was the Seattle game, I think. That was an imminently winnable game.
Wasn't
There
that a
were some
Thursday night
weird
game?
Coaching
That was a
choices.
Thursday
It was a
night
Thursday
game.
night game. Thursday night game should not fucking exist.
Yeah, but at the same, and that was
Other than the kickoff and Thanksgiving. That's
yeah, I agree. And you know what?
Excuse me.
That was Cam Newton was it was terrible in that game.
He got hurt.
You couldn't throw more than fucking 10 yards. All right, Tennessee Titans under. I say bet under all day. Niners 8. Bet under all day.
I bet under.
I say under, although they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. But
Yeah,
they were awful
I think
last
Jimmy
year.
G's overrated. Jacksonville Jags.
He's not. Well, we don't know that he's overrated because he hasn't played.
Okay, I'm basing that on his contract. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I mean, admittedly, if he comes close to what he does, which is 7-0 as a starter, no, $148 million is totally worth it. No losses? How much money do you want? Here's all the money.
Playing with who?
It doesn't matter. Well, he won some of those games in San Francisco.
Like 2.
Like 4,
Okay,
5.
4.
He only had 2 starts in New England.
Yeah, he got hurt. Jacoby Brissett came and started the third game.
Who parlayed that into a starting job with the Colts for a while.
All right. What the hell? All right. So we have Jacksonville Jaguars at 8.
By the way, at that moment, there were 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL that were North Carolina State quarterbacks.
Wilson, Brissett,
The Rivers, and the guy that signed with Chicago that was immediately bumped by Trubisky
Oh,
from Tampa Bay, I think.
yeah, from Tampa Bay. Mick.
It doesn't matter. Nobody remembers who he is anyway.
Yeah, someone look it up. All right. So we have
one of the McNowns.
No.
He was much younger than him.
Oh, what's his name? Whatever. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars 8.
Under. Over.
Push.
I like over.
Push. 8.
I think a healthy Leonard Fournette.
Everything needs to be a 0.5. Don't give us 8.
Well, no, that's what these are Vegas' numbers.
This is harsh. Choosing between 7 and 9 on Jacksonville is brutal.
They only won 5 last year, but also
Jalen Ramsey is playing for a contract outside of Jacksonville.
And Nick Foles. Big Dick Nick in the house.
And Leonard Fournette is healthy.
And he wants to also not be at Jacksonville, so he is also eventually playing for a contract elsewhere.
Nick Foles, Leonard Fournette, that defense, even though they lost who did they lose? They lost
Campbell left.
I don't know why anyone doesn't want to be in Florida with the no state tax.
And again, that's where it's like, why are you going to sign with the Colts? Because you can go to Tennessee, you can go to Jacksonville, or you can go to Houston. It's like no state tax.
Exactly.
All right, Carolina Panthers 8 wins. I say over.
Over.
Yeah, let's go over.
Bet
barring
over.
health. Yeah.
Bet over.
Oh, well, with one of the top 3 running backs in the league and MVP quarterback coming back, absolutely
For sure.
over.
And a healthy Luke.
Their offense could be so dynamic that they don't even need their defense to get over 8 wins.
Oh God! Did everyone see Josh Norman jump over a bull?
Twice.
Loved it.
Loved it. I love it. He's the nicest celebrity I've ever met in person.
Did you see the thing? His shoe insole people or whatever immediately took those clips and started advertising those things on Instagram. He made himself millions of dollars by doing that.
I wish we never let him go. I loved him.
It was so fun.
Panther.
It was so funny. There was that thing. It's like, why would you? It's an NFL organization. Why would you let one of your players run with the Bulls? And then somebody pointed out, it's like that's probably a lot safer than actually playing football. It's like you're probably right.
All right, Carolina Panthers 8. Bet over.
I will say bet over.
I think healthy Cam Newton. I think Curtis Samuel makes a leap this year as far as offensive weapon, especially if Cam can throw deep. Moore was dynamic as fuck at the end of the season. Granted, I'm still not happy that we passed on.
They don't even need to be able to throw it deep with as quick as those guys are. If you hit them on quick slants,
oh yeah,
they're playing a run. They break one tackle, they're gone.
Even though I still wish we didn't pass on what's his face from Bama, Calvin Ridley, over Moore, but whatever. I'm not running the offense.
Also another Alabama receiver in Atlanta.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley was ridiculous last year.
He was really good.
But also he was playing opposite one of the best receivers in the league. So we can't.
Which is easy. It's easy to be open that way.
It's easy to be really good. That's what I also say about.
How excited was Tim Brown to finally have a season where he was open with the Raiders that one year?
Yeah, well, also that's why I'm also saying that with no Brown to make Juju out there, yeah, no.
When you're throwing the ball 160 times, you're going to have over 100 plus catches.
Yeah. Denver Broncos 7. I say under.
I think who's their quarterback now? It's Flacco.
Yeah, Flacco.
Their defense is still really good.
I don't care how good Von Miller is. That team's.
He's got to be getting older though. Under.
Yeah,
No.
I think there's 6 wins.
Von Miller is the same age as Cam. He's like 29.
Yeah, but
And for defensive end, that's not old at all.
yes, it is
For the speed that he has to have.
Well, for the way he plays, he relies a lot on athleticism. But it's the same thing. So did Peppers.
But Peppers was a bigger athlete than him, and was still more athletic.
True.
It's 30. Von Miller's 30.
He's 30 now. Yeah, it's about the same age as Cam. New York Jets 7.5.
Under.
Where the fuck did that 7.5 number come from?
Le'Veon Bell.
The Jets?
Yeah, 7.5.
Under, bet.
Bet under.
and they got
all
that
day.
great-
Even with 2 free Dolphin wins.
And they even got that great Dolphins head coach up there.
All right, Detroit Lions, six
How
and a
much,
half.
how much drugs was he on in that interview?
They look like he jogged from Miami.
He looked like the villain from Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the end
my God,
when his
yeah.
eyes are bugging out.
Well, at least the whole Dolphins team knows his scheme.
That's the thing. It's like, oh well, we can win these games.
All right, Detroit Lions, 6.5.
And apparently, he didn't even want Fat Le'Veon Bell there.
Yeah, he didn't. But I think Le'Veon Bell will be in shape.
Oh, he'll be fine. I mean, he's gonna want to. He knows that he has his money, but he also wants to show other people. It's like, no, pay running backs.
Yeah, so he has something. He's actually playing for something. That's why I don't have Christian in my top 5. It's because Le'Veon Bell's in there now.
Yeah, but the Jets are going to be worse
Don't
by like 6 wins.
I'd
worse.
take McCaffrey over Bell right now.
The Jets would take McCaffrey over Bell right now.
I don't know.
League would.
I don't know. Well, Le'Veon Bell
like
out.
Dallas-
That's the problem with the NFL. He guy sits out 1 year because he wants to get paid. Rightfully so, because he's a running back, and suddenly
Do you know the history of NFL players that sit out a year for health reasons, or no, for non-health related issues and how they bounce back? It's horrific. They don't bounce back.
We'll see what happens. Detroit Lions 6.5. I say
You don't think the Rams would trade Gurley for McCaffrey right now?
Well, it's because McGurley's injury prone right now. He's got bad knees.
Even if they thought he was coming back with McCaffrey's ability to catch,
if McGurley can catch the ball just as well, if not better than
No.
McCaffrey.
not better.
No.
Not better.
I'm just saying,
McCaffrey and Barkley are the best, and Bell are the best receiving running backs in the league.
That are actual running backs as opposed to just wide receivers.
Yeah, but I genuinely think. Well, listen,
Gurley is a smash mouth workhorse.
who happens to catch the
Yeah.
ball.
and who could also happen to break it.
Zeke can catch a little bit too, not a lot though.
Not a lot. No, but no. If you gave me
It's hard for Ewoks to get their hands that
if we're talking 100% healthy, never had injuries, I'd take Gurley over McCaffrey any day.
Yeah, healthy Gurley, yeah, for sure.
If his health was an
Best
issue,
running back in the league.
if health wasn't an issue, Gurley all day than McCaffrey. That's not even
Nobody's
close.
arguing that he's not number one.
No.
Kamara can catch too.
No, I don't think.
He's
I don't
really
think.
good.
I don't think Gurley.
Nobody's seen him carry.
I don't think.
Kamara can catch.
I don't think Alvin Kamara. I don't think. I don't think Gurley's number one. If we're just if we're taking 5 running backs, let's just say theoretically they never had injury issues.
We're taking, but here's the thing: we have to take them in the context of where they are and what we expect them to accomplish with the teams that they are.
Yeah.
Barkley still may be one of the top 2 running backs, and of the numbers he may put up at the top 1, but the impact that he'll have on the league will not be significant because the Giants are awful.
I mean, I know he's got a great line, but you can't put Zeke very low on that list.
That's the thing. He's a top
Zeke's
3.
three.
He's a top 3 running back. But what keeps him from being number 1 is Dallas forgets that they're built as a running team.
Yeah, no. So you have, let's say, it's Gurley. In no particular order, I'm going to say you have Gurley, Zeke, Saquon, probably Alvin Kamara, and Bell. As far as just,
I put McCaffrey ahead of Kamara because McCaffrey has carried the load as the main back, whereas Kamara has not done that yet.
yeah, but Kamara embarrassed. I've seen them both playing.
But
What
again-
Kamara does on the field, he embarrasses us
And the
every
reason he's
time.
able to do that in the fourth quarter is he's 25 snaps fresher than anybody else. That's a difference.
It's a very big difference. All right, Detroit Lions 6.5
And that's
wins.
25 less times getting hit too.
All right, Detroit Lions 6.5 wins.
Under, even with Stafford. I mean,
say over.
Calvin Jones is 5 wins, or Calvin Johnson was 5 wins by himself. He's not with that team anymore.
I say over.
I went to college with the punter, and I still say under. Sorry, Sam.
I say over. All right, Cincinnati Bengals 6. I say over. I think it's gonna be one of those years. I think new coach.
I think they're 6.
Dalton 8. You can always count on A.G. Green. Better running back situation.
Pushish.
Yeah, I think they're 6.
Between 5 and
I
6.
don't know how their defense is gonna be this year. All right, Buffalo Bills 6.5.
Under.
Bet all
Under.
day.
Go Dolphins.
Under.
Go Dolphins.
That running that
Josh Allen has not been able to stay healthy.
and also Josh Allen's not a good quarterback.
He's a terrific athlete.
You sit here and have people argue. Once again, you have these people sitting here telling me Josh
Whitey
Allen
Mc-
is going to be a great quarter.
Whitey McWiderson exists because of the nature of Buffalo fans.
He's like, oh, Josh Allen is going to be a great quarterback. But they hate on Cam Newton. I'm like, okay, you're an idiot. He has a worse arm than Cam. He has a rocket of an arm.
He has a worse accuracy than Cam.
Worse accuracy.
They're both equally strong-armed.
Yeah. All right, Tampa Bay Bucks 6.5 under.
It's got to be under. I mean, Arians is a great coach, but under.
All right, New York Giants 6 under.
Barkley. I don't know.
7.
Over.
Yeah.
You think they beat Saquon to like 450 plus touches?
Yes, and also it's like
400.
The NFC East is terrifically close together.
It always is.
And I mean, they're gonna split with the Eagles. They're gonna split with the Cowboys. So that keeps them from getting mashed down from others.
I still think that Eagles Super Bowl was a fucking fluke.
Oh, it was. They and again, that's championships are made by everything lining up the way that it has to do.
Absolutely. All right.
If Brady doesn't drop that exact same play that the Eagles scored a touchdown on, they win that game.
Yeah. Oakland Raiders 6. Bet under all day.
Under on the Raiders.
What's the number?
Oakland
6.
Raiders 6.
Under, just for entertainment purposes.
It's definitely under.
I have so many friends that are Raiders fans.
I ran into Mafia last night. It makes me want to say under.
It's
They're so
I get that
delusional.
and this is the way that the NBA and the NFL structure the way that contracts are going to be paid is what keeps the Lakers from being as cash strapped as the Raiders are. But the Raiders are just they've gone back in time into a league that's 20 years beyond what's going
John
on.
Gruden
then.
thinks it's 1999, not
His offense has not changed. His defensive schemes have not changed. It was completely and utterly evident in the way that they played. It doesn't matter that they have better players. You still traded the defensive player of the year last year
for no reason.
For no particular reason. You had already signed him and everything. And you're obviously not happy with the quarterback that you have that you're paying $20 million a year to that you can't find a way to get rid of because the Giants were even smart enough not to take on that contract.
I don't think Carson
And so there's no way you're going to be intentionally better this year when you want to make sure that you make the big jump your first year in Las Vegas. Definitely under.
when you can pick up. Well,
And he signed Whitey McWhiterson. I guarantee you he's starting the last 4 games this season, and they will lose them all badly.
Whitey
It's the only reason he's starting.
I legitimately think at the end of the season, if he's starting for a few games, I would fly to Oakland to watch one.
I think that I might want to too because you have to. It's very seldom in your lifetime that you have the opportunity to see transcendent talent at either end of the spectrum, and to be able to say, yes, I saw the worst professional quarterback in the history of the NFL play, and he's worse than you think.
So the spectrum is Brady to Peterman.
Yes. And the Bills are like, no, we want this guy to start. We want this guy.
and once again, you'll have people argue that.
That's why the spectrum is the Patriots to the Bills as well.
And then you also have people arguing that he deserves to be in the league over Kaepernick.
The Bills are the only team in the league famous for losing Super Bowls. 4 in a row.
They were so good at it, people forgot that Minnesota has lost 4 Super Bowls.
But they didn't do it in a row.
No.
No, they wouldn't. They lost them all in the 70s. Though. All right, Washington Redskins 6.5.
Oh, man. Under. Haskins is a rookie. Give him some time. I don't think he's going to be bad, but it's too soon.
And again, I don't think that entire division is.
The line's not great. Look at Alex Smith.
I think they'll be right at 6. I think they'll be right at 6 wins.
Yeah,
and they may even be better than that. They'll just lose some games because
them and the Giants will split.
Haskins just doesn't know what to do with certain situations.
All right,
Who's running back in Washington?
Adrian Peterson still?
I think he ended up somewhere else.
I don't think so.
He's definitely still wanting to play though.
All right, Arizona Cardinals 5.
Under.
And then
if they're over with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, if they're 6+ wins, that's the greatest coaching job we've seen in the NFL in the last 20 years.
And last but not least, your Miami Dolphins 5.
Over. We get that one win against the Patriots.
You'll get the 2
That's
against
20%.
Buffalo. You get 2 against Buffalo. You get 1 against the Jets.
At least
You're at 4 there.
Right there in the division.
And you might get 2 against the Jets. So you're looking at 5 pretty good.
I say over.
Yeah, you get 2 of the other 10. Yeah, you get 6.
I say over.
Over. It's over.
All right, guys.
I mean, it's funny that they say that's one of the worst rosters, but it's like I don't feel that they're one of the worst teams though.
We are set up to have an ungodly amount of cap space in a season or 2.
Oh no, that's what they want to do.
Yeah. They're going to start doing like NBA type shit.
Well, I mean, that's what Houston did 2 years ago when they took on that Osweiler contract and a 2nd-round pick. Or was it Cleveland? They traded it to Houston. Eventually traded him to Cleveland for. You'll get Osweiler and the 2nd-round pick because you have the cap room, just because we want to get rid of him. And I'm surprised that more teams don't do those things when it's like when you gut your roster for things. Also do other stuff because you still have to maintain a minimum amount on your salary cap and get other picks. Because in the NFL, more so than any sport, draft picks are eminently important.
And then we'll go ahead and throw this out here for just some shits and giggles. 2019 NFL MVP odds. Pat, who do you think leads the top?
It's got to be Mahomes.
Mahomes
Mahomes at the top.
Mahomes boy.
Plus 400. Aaron Rodgers plus 800.
Not with that coach.
No,
But he's good enough.
he is.
He's
But it's like they're going to
genuinely
be
good
awful.
enough.
They're going to be awful.
He might be the best quarterback I've ever seen, but no.
He is the best quarterback I've ever seen.
I don't know, man. Prime Peyton Manning was something serious.
He was, but just what Aaron Rodgers can do the things that Manning can do as far as just on throws and everything.
Manning was all the non-physical stuff, though. It was another level.
Well, yeah,
All the reads, everything.
he was the coach on the field. But the thing is, when you see Aaron Rodgers,
Who was the Colts offense coordinator? That guy got a free check.
every year.
Ted Marchibrodo?
Free check every year. Free money.
But no. But what I'm saying is that just what Aaron Rodgers can do outside of the pocket,
that was-
extending
well,
plays,
that
making
was the other thing.
throws.
He's more talented.
Manning had the same, and I'm not sure if that was his offensive coordinator, but he had the same offensive coordinator for like the first 12 years of his career in Baltimore or Indianapolis. So it's like he already knew everything, so they could always add more things. So his depth of knowledge.
Do you think when he went to Denver, the offensive coordinator just like showed up to work the next day with a six-pack and just cracked a fucking
Yeah,
beer?
that's
Just
exactly
like,
what happened. Because they changed their
fucking-
entire offense from one year to the next.
Yeah, because they had John Fox and John Fox.
Tebow the year before.
Yeah,
That,
and
yeah,
he took him to 2 straight Super Bowls,
no, 2 and 3 years.
2 and 3. Yeah.
Because the John Fox cost them the Super Bowl opportunity against the 49ers
Yeah, it
because
was.
because they could have gone for it on fourth down and kept the ball in Manning's hands and decided to punt to the Ravens. Then they give up that ridiculous
You mean John Fox doing John Fox things?
yes, that ridiculous touchdown pass to the Ravens to force overtime, and then they won it.
Well, they lost to the Seahawks in the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
It was great. It was
Then,
fantastic. Loved it.
then the next season, it was the Patriots beat them and beat the Seahawks in the best Super Bowl of all time. And then the next year, they beat the Panthers, right?
Well, see, they
And arguably one of the worst Super
Super
Bowls
Bowls of all time.
they lost to
It alternates.
they lost to the Ravens in the
The last one was
in
this
the
last
first
one
year
sucked.
with Manning. Then
The year
they go
before,
to
amazing.
then they go to the championship and then lose to Seattle. Then they go and lose to the Patriots, and then they go and they beat the Patriots, and that's when they beat the Panthers.
Yeah, no, they embarrassed the Patriots.
Which was really
Manning has
odd
a-
because in the regular season the Patriots beat them, and then it's like all of a sudden, well, Talib got hurt, and then that was it, and then they were able to just beat them down.
All right, so Andrew Luck at plus 800, Carson Wentz at plus 1,000
I got luck.
at plus 800.
I got luck winning MVP.
Keep going on your numbers, Andy.
I think bang for your buck though. So you got Drew Brees at plus 1,000, Wentz at plus 1,000, Tom Brady at plus 1,200,
Which I think is high because the outside people are going to vote on Brady because they're familiar with him. And if he's 3,700 yards and 35 plus touchdowns as a 42-year-old, he's going to get a lot of looks at that because how are you doing that?
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what? Like I said, we always say that.
I am closer in age to Tom Brady than he is to any of you.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing: is that you know what? I keep saying it. It's going to happen. Him, Breeze.
Well, yes, because he's not going to be a 65-year-old guy.
I mean, yeah, come on. I hate like when Max Kellerman does it on First Take. Betting on Father Time year after year after year is the safest bet ever. It's like, just shut up.
Yeah, no,
that's the house at Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to win.
Come on.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you know what? Breeze, Brady, Rivers, Roethlisberger, those guys. It's going to happen. And it's going to be.
Eventually. It happened to Peyton overnight.
It literally happened to me. Well,
He had the neck injury.
He had the neck injury, and he literally was throwing ducks out there.
Threw 55 touchdowns after that neck
He
surgery.
did.
Yeah, but then the following season, he was literally throwing ducks. Anyway, so Breeze, Rivers at plus 1,400. Russell Wilson, I like this at plus 1,400.
And I said I don't think he'll ever end up winning one just because he's on the West Coast.
No one gets to see him.
No one gets to see him, and you have to see what he does over the course of the game. Because when you just see what he does in the fourth quarter, your question is, why don't he do that at the first, second, and third quarter? Because they changed their entire offense in the last 15 minutes of the game.
Rapist plus 2,500. Matt Ryan plus 2,500.
Therapist.
I like
I don't know what you're saying.
I like Baker Mayfield at plus 2,500.
Whoa.
I like that a lot, actually.
What?
I do. I don't know why I see that kid making a leap
This year to
Mm-hmm.
MVP, possibly?
Yeah, man.
That's nonsense.
if he does the same thing he
If
did
Mahomes
last year,
can
that's
do-
a leap.
If
Who's
Mahomes,
the highest running back?
the highest running back, Zeke
Yeah, makes sense.
at plus 6,000. I like Cam.
6,000. Wow.
Because they don't believe they're going to hand him the ball.
Jared Goff plus 6,000. Cam Newton. I like Cam Newton plus 6,000 and Deshaun Watson at plus
Can't
6,000.
McCaffrey should be higher than Newton.
Nope. McCaffrey's plus 8,000.
No, because if Newton is healthy, which they think, they'll throw more and run less.
Why? Don't they want to win?
And he rushed for over 700 yards.
You guys didn't see this, but I gave the emoji with the hand out and the eye roll. It's like I don't know. I guess they don't.
It's like the thing. It's all sports too. It's like people get enamored with the new thing. It's like pass. You have to pass. You have to pass. NBA. It's you have to shoot threes. You have to shoot threes. You have to shoot threes. You can win games with a traditional style still.
Well, that's the thing is you can
execute.
always.
It's all about execution.
It's always about the same things. It's like, well, how do you beat a great offense? You hit the quarterback.
Points are points. I don't give a shit where they come from.
But you know what? I'm going to say this right now. I'm just going to stop it there because Kamara and McCaffrey are at the same number at plus 8,000.
That's weird.
But I like
if Kamara does well by himself, he's got a good shot.
Oh no, he'll get a looks, but I mean, they're only successful if Breeze is successful.
True. But I personally like Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack at plus 10,000.
I think
it hasn't happened since 1986. What do you mean you like it?
I think Khalil Mack.
Well, I mean, if you're putting,
I think both those guys are the talented kind of.
If you're putting $10 down on a bet as a flyer, I'd put $10 down on Khalil Mack. Donald won't, because again, if they're successful, then either Gurley or Goff is doing something else, so it's split between the three of them.
Or McVay.
But with Mack at Chicago,
not only was it the last time it happened, it's the only time it's happened.
Yeah, it's the only time it's happened.
Mack is
it's like when Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy.
There's been.
Well, no, he won it, but he did it for basically doing everything.
He was as a punt returner, and they even put him on offense some.
Yeah, he played wide receiver.
But also the other thing is like, shut up, Peyton. We know you're the best football player in all of college football. Just go away and be a success. It was just amazing that Woodson also happened to be one of the best secondary players of his entire generation as well. That was the most unusual thing about that.
Yeah, he played punt returner, wide receiver, and corner.
He was the corner.
Oh, so this was an argument I saw someone having on Facebook the other day.
On a national championship winning team, right?
Here's an argument someone got into on Facebook the other day, and I thought I might as well bring it up here.
Please do.
Is Devin Hester a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
20 return touchdowns. The next guy has 14.
Greatest return.
And that's Brian Mitchell, who has no shot of being in there.
Yeah, but shattering the record 100%, like that.
100% greatest return man of all time.
13,000 return yards.
13,000.
He's the greatest return man.
13,000. I looked it up.
That's free yards. Your offense over the course of his career is starting like 20 yards better.
There was a point in his career where his punt and kickoff returns were auto tune in. Like,
I mean, he had the greatest start to a Super Bowl ever.
It was Pointman TV.
He ran the opening fucking kickoff back against the Colts.
Ted Ginn did the same thing in the national championship football game, and both teams lost.
But it was no. I mean, the fucking Bears quarterback was Rex Grossman. What else were they going to do? Did they score another touchdown that game?
No, they didn't. That was it.
That was it.
And admittedly, the bulk of their offense was entirely related on Hester's being
People
able to score.
People were kicking it out of bounds, taking it at the 40.
Listen, what was the season when there was a season where it looked like Devin Hester could take it out any game.
That was the year.
I watched that guy play in person in the Orange Bowl when I was a kid. Let me tell you something. I've never seen an athlete like that.
No, but
him and Willis McGahee before his knee injury were the most unreal, and Sean Taylor, the most unreal humans I've ever seen.
There was a point when there was a season when literally Devin Hester, you would get a text or a notification, hey, they're about to punt the ball to Devin Hester. You switch the channel. You're like, let's see it.
Do you remember?
Let's watch it.
Does everyone remember the return in Miami when he was at UM against Duke?
Yes.
Where he made everyone look stupid.
Yes.
No,
he left after his redshirt sophomore year at Miami, didn't he? Because I know he went early. I don't think he did. I know he didn't stay for.
He was weird because they didn't know what position to play him,
and they couldn't play him at offense because apparently he couldn't catch a traditional spiral. He can only catch one dropping down straight from the sky.
I've seen them give him a pitch out of the backfield. You know.
Well, he played for Atlanta for like a season, and I think they tried to get him on offense or somewhere. But
he was a wide receiver in the league,
in theory.
No, he should have been like an H-back, something kind of like a guy running out of the backfield.
I think Miami had him as a defensive back for a little while, but
he made 4 Pro Bowls as a returner, 3-time first-team All-Pro.
I mean, he's
second-team All-Pro once too.
He's definitely, if again, a punter has made the Hall of Fame now. A kicker only has made the Hall of Fame. He will get in the Hall of Fame. We were discussing back and forth about Gale Sayers. Gale Sayers gets in there because of his 7-year period, and a lot of that has to do with his fear of his ability to return kicks and punts. Devin Hester is a Hall of Fame player.
Devin Hester has 16 career touchdown receptions and 20 return touchdowns.
He's a Hall of Fame computer console player. He's the only 100 speed in Madden football history. No, he is the greatest return man in NFL history, and no, he's absolutely a Hall of Fame.
And before him, it was everyone loved Dante Hall. Remember Dante Hall?
Human joystick. He was good for a year.
He was good for several years
as a returner. He was still a pretty good defensive back.
Dante Hall was wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Who's the
Kansas City?
Dante. Oh yes.
No, Dante Hall was when Brees Holmes was
trying to think the other Hall. There was a Virginia Tech corner that played for Washington for a long time. But no, Dante Hall was terrifically. Kansas City's had a history of fantastic returners who don't last more than about 3 or 4 years. Dante Hall was one of them. Tamarick Vanover, do you remember him from Florida State?
No.
He was a redshirt sophomore. He goes in. He had one against the Orange Bowl, in the Orange Bowl against Miami, which was ridiculous. He had like 6 returns in his freshman year, goes after his sophomore year, starts his career with like a kickoff return for a touchdown, punt return. They're playing the Chargers. And when Darren Bennett was there, do you remember Darren Bennett?
I do.
The 6'6" Australian rules football guy who came over and spent his like late 30s and early 40s as a punter, kicking like 50-plus yards for the Chargers. So Tamarick Vanover, who's about 5'6", 150 pounds, blows by everybody. He's coming up on Darren Bennett and getting ready to do a move and starts to go past him. And Bennett just sticks out his arm, catches him in the chest, lifts him up, and plants him. And then we never heard of Tamarick Vanover ever again. It's the most amazing punter on returner tackle that you've ever seen.
Spell it.
Todd Sauerbrunn had a few ridiculous hits back in the day.
Darren Bennett wasn't roided up.
Yeah, true.
Sauerbrunn was almost as wide as he was tall.
Tamarick Vanover hit. Let's see it.
if that,
Michael Barrow hit him?
No, that's in college. That's the college hit.
Anyways, guys, anything else you want to go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and cut this off now.
Good time to wrap.
Yeah, it's a good time to wrap it up. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, it's the only place I'd wrap it up. So, here's your expert on load management. Ignore that one. Sorry, Mom. Have a good day, guys.
Jerry, anything for you?
Bet the Ravens Nevermore.
Yeah, that's the name of this podcast. If it recorded,
I hope it did record because this is gonna be Bet the Ravens Nevermore. Bet the Ravens under Nevermore. Anyways, guys,
don't add to it. It was perfect.
All right, Bet the Ravens Nevermore. Fine. Anyways, guys,
always got to try to make it his own. Nope.
Should I just make the title Simon Says Bet the Ravens Nevermore this week?
Absolutely.
Not even make it Simon Says Bet.
No, it seamlessly fits. It's perfect.
It's not even going to be Simon Says Bet. It's going to be Simon Says Bet the Ravens Nevermore. All right.
Absolutely.
I'll make it that this week. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. This podcast will be up. I'm going to say today's Wednesday? It'll be up by tonight or Thursday.
Only took us a week.
Yeah, I know. I've been recording this one sports podcast three times now. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a great evening or day or whatever you're listening to, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Go see Spider-Man.
Yes.